Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for a normal everyday buyer? Those are the three questions that keep most people up at night when they stare at a sleek stainless steel wine cooler in the showroom or on a product page. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. If you're the type who keeps a handful of bottles for dinner parties, or you're a budding collector thinking about expanding to a proper cellar, the Everdure 46-bottle luxury wine cooler promises a middle ground between a small countertop unit and a full-size walk-in. But if you only open a bottle once a month, or you already have a reliable fridge that can handle a few reds, you might be paying for features you'll never use. Let's start with the everyday scenario that most of us face. You have a kitchen island, a small dining nook, or maybe a home bar in the basement, and you want a place to store wine at the right temperature without sacrificing counter space. The Everdure unit measures just under 3 feet tall, so it can slip into a standard cabinet opening or sit as a freestanding piece next to a sofa. That size makes it possible to hide behind a decorative screen or integrate it into a wall of appliances without looking like a commercial wine cellar. The first thing you notice is the reversible glass door. Flip it to open from either side, which is handy if your kitchen layout forces you to walk past the cooler on a tight path. In real life, that means you can keep the door opening toward the room where you entertain, and close it toward the pantry or hallway where you store extra glassware. Now, what does dual zone actually buy you? The touchpad display lets you set 2 different temperature ranges, usually around 45-55 F for whites and 55-65 F for reds. In practice, that means you can keep a dozen crisp Sauvignon Blancs ready for a summer brunch while simultaneously aging a few Bordeaux reds for a future dinner party. The separation is physical, not just a software split. Each zone has its own thermostat and compressor cycle, so the cooler doesn't waste energy trying to keep the whole interior at a single middle temperature. For a household that drinks both white and red regularly, that's a tangible convenience. If you only ever drink one style of wine, the second zone may sit idle, which is a subtle trade-off in value. One of the hidden strengths is the Beech wood shelves. Most wine coolers opt for metal or plastic racks that can dent or make noise when you slide a bottle in. The wood shelves here are cut to a depth that holds a standard 750 ml bottle securely without the bottle rattling against the back wall. I've seen people complain that the shelves are too low for large format bottles, and that's true. You'll need to store magnums or unusually tall bottles elsewhere. For typical dinner party bottles, however, the wood gives a premium look and a gentle touch, which matches the stainless steel exterior. The LED display is bright but not blinding, and the touchpad responds well to a light tap, even when your hands are a little damp from opening a bottle of sparkling wine. On the downside, the compressor can be a bit louder than you might expect from a luxury unit. In a quiet living room or a bedroom turned home office, the hum becomes noticeable after a few minutes of operation. It's not a rattling or grinding noise, just a steady mechanical whir that some people describe as a refrigerator's background chatter. If you plan to keep the cooler in an open concept space where you're watching TV or having a conversation, the sound level might become a minor annoyance. Also, the unit doesn't come with a built-in wine rack that holds bottles horizontally. You have to store each bottle on its side on the shelf, which is fine for most wines but can be a hassle if you're trying to keep a collection organized by varietal or vintage. Some competitors include modular racks that let you swap out sections, but Everdure sticks with a simple fixed shelf design. Energy consumption is another practical point. Because the cooler has 2 independent zones, it draws a bit more power than a single-zone model of comparable size. In a home where you're already mindful of electricity usage, that could translate to an extra few dollars a year on your bill. However, the unit's insulation is solid, and once the temperature stabilizes, the compressor cycles off for extended periods, so the actual cost impact is modest for most users. If you're on a strict budget, you might consider a single-zone cooler and manually adjust the temperature when you need a different style of wine, but you'll lose that convenience of instant switching. Let's talk about who should walk away. If you live in a small studio apartment with limited floor space and you already have a compact undercounter fridge that can hold a few bottles, adding a 46-bottle cooler might feel redundant. The unit's footprint, while not massive, still